Hello. I why don't you come closer? Stay a while and listen. Um, I want to be comfortable. I'm in such a weird. Look how funny this looks. I feel weird. Um, how do I say this? I'm watching someone become conscious. You know, I mean, it's a strange thing. I'm also repeating something from the past. I realized. Um, I know I'm being vague, but I can't be specific. I'm not allowed to be specific. But I also have to journal. The whole point is document my fucking spiritual thing. So, you know, there's this archetype of the wounded healer. The idea is that you go through shit yourself so that you can then help other people. And when you, I guess, like conquer your demons or you grow or whatever, it's kind of like then what? Now what? What do I what do I do with this? So I feel like I kept looking for I mean, I did. I kept looking for a community to join so I could help. It's like, what was the point of me learning shit if I can't share it, right? And I kept looking for outlets, and obviously, like, um, when I see a charitable cause, not like a charity, but like when someone needs money or help in some way, like mechanical problems on their car broke down or whatever, I help. And I like doing that, but that's not an everyday thing. I have a lot of free time. So I kept thinking, like, God, what is it? What's the plan? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? And then he puts people in your way, in your path, not in your way. Feels like they're in your way. Puts people in your path that you're supposed to help. Now the problem is how do you help? That's the other thing, because unless someone asks for it, you're annoying as fuck. Um, and then even so, like change is hard. Nobody wants to change, um, which is why usually in the spiritual path, something bad happens to you to force you to change. It's like Luke Skywalker was the hero's journey, so he would have stayed home on that his uncle's farm or whatever, but it was burned down. Can't he can't? There's no home now. He has to go forward. So what I realized is just observing my life and people's lives is that there is a constant conversation between the universe and you to tell you when you're fucking up or when you're supposed to change or when you're supposed to move or when you're supposed to break up with someone or whatever the thing is. And then when you ignore that and it's not your life purpose, it's like an etch a sketch. It's being everything has to fucking be completely toppled over to start over. So I experienced that, but now like observing other people's lives, I didn't just like this is what happened to me, so this is how it works. I compare my story to everybody else's, um, and I observe how they think, how they act, if there's karma related to their actions, shit like this. It's like there's undoubtedly there's a method to the madness. So Um, I had faith in somebody, and now I'm seeing like that the growth happen in front of me. And of course, it's like it's incremental, it's slow, but at the same time, I know I'm being vague, but now there's like a situation that very much mimics something that I experienced in the past, and that I saw in retrospect how I handled it wrong. Not that I wanted a different result in the past, but how I handled it wrong. Um, and you you get when you're caught up in your emotions, you make illogical or irrational or angry or whatever decisions, and it's really hard to see the big picture when you don't think that there's a God or there's a meaning for everything and stuff like this. So, um, I suppose on the outside, my 3D world looked hostile. It looked not good. It looked like I'm really far from achieving anything spiritually in a certain direction. And you can obviously tell what I'm referring to, but um, weirdly, out of the blue, basically, it seems like things are changing. Um, Slowly but surely. And I guess it's exciting to have like witnessed it before, you know? Um, how can I tell a story? I want to tell stories. So, um, dating culture in America is usually hookup culture. It's like you hook up and then you kind of figure out if you like the person or not. Um, Luckily, not everybody's like that, but um, it is too common, you know? Uh, so, I've dated multiple people at once before, or went back and forth between people before. I had been cheated on before. I've experienced a lot in dating, and what I experienced, after time, like when you're screwed over and you want revenge against somebody, you have that feeling like someone cheats on you or betrays you. It's like a pretty big deal, emotionally. And then, of course, it always looks like they got away with it. That person looks like they found happiness right away, right? But every time I observed what happened, it was like it made me believe karma's real. So, an example, like here's the thing: is that if someone cheats on you, you cheating on them isn't revenge. You're fucking up. Like in a world where your spiritual crimes matter, it doesn't matter if someone fucked you over. It doesn't excuse you to do something bad. And I think that was a huge thing I had to learn. Not because I ever took revenge, but because I held on to resentment as if I wanted revenge. I'm holding the vibration of that, and when I let it go, the karma would resurface. The karma would happen. So an example is that, and I'm not proud of this, but in the interest of honesty, I am. It's how you learn. So after I dated a girl that had a double life, and gaslit me or whatever, I wasn't sure. I grew up thinking I'm gonna. I thought my first kiss is the person I'm marrying. That's how. I was like a fedora incel, basically. Um, and society beat that out of me promptly. Um, so by the time the I was in my 30s, I think, by the time this girl like deceived me and betrayed me and all this stuff and set out to do it. That was the weird thing. Is like lied to me from day one. And when I finally got some of the truth, it really messed me up. So I was like, how do you ever know somebody? How do you ever trust somebody? I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. It changed who I was. It changed even the heading in life, which again is supposed to happen. So it shook me up. Like at the time, I fucking didn't like it. It lasted a long time too, because I couldn't see a meaning behind it. I was like, I was totally innocent of this. There was no way you could say I deserved that. And I would consider the woman an energy vampire, right? And what's a vampire's job is to turn other people to vampires. So I went out into the world really hurt, and then I shared that demon with fucking everybody. And here's the thing: is that it's unconscious. Like this is why you have to forgive people, because sometimes you're a cunt too, you know. So because I was hurt, all I did was try to numb myself. So I tried to anything that you can think of, anything that you can think of, nothing worked. So whether it's like play video games or go out or drink or girls, it was all temporary numbing. And I kicked this can down the road for years. And what ends up happening is that the numbing behavior, it works less and less. So you'd when you enter in a new relationship, it's exciting. It's fun. It's comfortable. It's everything that you think you need. And then that voice starts to, you know, that panic sets in that you didn't resolve from before. And that panic most likely isn't just from the thing that happened to you recently. It's something that's been building since childhood, which is why the recent thing happened. Like what got me into the situation with that girl with a secret family is what happened to me as a kid. You can't separate these two things. I wouldn't have allowed that to happen if I knew better. I didn't know better. I know I wasn't getting my needs met, which was a normal thing to me. It's like love was supposed to be unhealthy. So even though I didn't know about the family, my needs weren't being met, and I stayed. You know, someone she would break up with me like every 2 weeks. When I say every 2 weeks, it was every 2 weeks. It was starting. I was starting to get. Obviously, she's saying, "You didn't say bless you when I sneezed. I'm out of here. I'm leaving in the middle of the night." It's like, what? Where are you going? Why are you back on Monday? What's the deal? And she would, she'd get a text or something to pick up her kids in the morning, so she'd engineer a fight and fuck off. Um, the weirdest thing is like she couldn't just do it in a normal human way. Like, oh, you know what? This happened at home. I have to leave. So like, she couldn't make up a nice story. It had to be my fault. And this fucking demon, I'm telling you, like the anger and like whatever the fuck is inside her is fucking nuts. And I put my dick there a lot. And then I became nuts. And then I just gave this gift to everybody. So, um, the girl best friend that I had um, was around me all the time when I broke up. She's the first person that I talked to after the breakup or after I found out about the kids. I held it in for a month. I didn't tell a single person. My head was spinning and I was in shock. So I didn't tell anybody for a long time. A month is a long time to hold on to that. And she was the first person I called, and I was like, she has kids. What? What? I was like, I know. And then, to her credit, she tried to keep me distracted. So we would go out, and we slept in the same bed so many times over the years. There was never a hint of anything. We didn't like never faced each other even. There was always a pillow in between us. It was like it wasn't needed, but it was just a comfortable friend relationship. She got cheated on right before this. So she's single and I'm single and we're going out, we're getting drunk, and then, you know, fucking oops. And it was the worst thing that could have happened because then the problem was thinking like, okay, well, it hasn't worked with anybody else. We're really close. So what do you think? I remember not liking it, but it seemed like the logic was like, okay, we should, everyone says it anyways. Like we do comedy shows, and the person's like, how long have you been married? We're just friends. Um, so we started down this weird path. So I initially said like I know that I love you as a friend. Do you think? And she said, when people have sex, your body releases a chemical called oxytocin, and it's the bonding chemical. And she just logicked me out of it. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm in pain, so I'm going back to my ex. And after she saw me with my ex, she was like, hey, what the fuck? I was like, you said, what do you mean, what the fuck? I just don't want to feel how I feel, and I didn't know what to do. Um, my ex was always trying to get me back and like let me. I wanted to introduce you to my kids and all this shit. I was protecting them, and I couldn't think clearly. I was just in such pain that all I could do is just try to prevent feeling it. It was overwhelming. So um, I think also at the time I realized that she was getting kicked out of her house and she needed a place to stay. She just moved into my bedroom at my mom's house. She didn't ask. One day she's over. I was playing video games and she's like, I'm going to clean out your closet. I'm going to color code it for you. I don't fucking care. Go ahead. And then you don't wear this. I'm throwing it away. She's kept doing that. I was like, okay, I don't care. The next thing I know, this bitch put all of her shit in there, even her fucking like horse saddle in my closet. I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, my parents this or that. They're moving and I can't have my dog there. Can I stay with you? I was like, okay, you can stay as long as you want, friend. Not thinking she's like actually staying. It's like stay fucking a day or two. What the fuck? You don't live here now. You didn't want to ask my mom. My mom was cool with it, begrudgingly, because she saw her do my laundry or something once. She's like, okay, this is good. Because she needed to do her own laundry. So, anyways, I don't know how long that lasted, but I'll tell you what I needed is to be alone with my thoughts and feelings. And I'd have regular nightmares 2 or 3 nights a week about my ex. And I'd wake up next to this and I'd be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? I just had this feeling of fuck you in me. And then, hi, what do you want to do today? I want you to die. Leave me alone. Get out of here. So, obviously, like at a certain point, it's like I would snap and then I'd be like, why am I acting like this? But she was fucking on top of me. Like everywhere I go, you're touching me. I don't, I, you know what I mean? I was level 100. And I knew I didn't want to be with her romantically at this point. It's like, okay, you want to get married and have kids. You have this very deep, like, family religious shit that I have nothing to do with. It's like, I don't want this. Like, I kept telling her, I was like, you should date somebody. You should move on. We can just be friends. It's fine. We can reel this one back. And she'd say, okay, and then just never leave me alone. She's like, okay, do you want to see a movie today? I was like, okay. I didn't want to be alone, frankly. We were both avoiding our pain, I suppose, and she was avoiding some kind of financial constraint. So eventually, obviously, like, okay, it doesn't work here. I'm not happy. So I'm going to go and figure out who I can stick it in that makes me happy. And went back and forth with my ex. I went back and forth with probably two other girls. There might have been something in between. I made a list one time. I thought I'd been an angel this whole time. I was like 13 years with one girl. Well, it was on and off. So in between, there was this and this and this. What is the number? And then I made the list one time, and then for like weeks after, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, that I forgot about. Oops, I forgot about that. Ooh, I remember that. I'm not gonna count, but yeah, I wasn't who I am today. I'll tell you that. When I'm not a bad looking guy. Like when I'm drunk and I don't have my walls up, I'm fucking everybody's type. Tall, short, everybody's into it. Skinny, fat, everyone's like, I like your energy. No, thank you. I'm gonna stay at home, please. Thank you. Um, okay, so I started dating a girl, but my girl best friend is always fucking around in tow, right? So I'm trying to date this girl, and she won't fuck off. She's like a apple on a tree that's overripe. It's like, get the fuck off me. It's like, why aren't you leaving? This isn't your home. Um, I'm being funny, but that is how I felt for sure. So try to date that girl, and then she's this is too long, but the first time she had sex, we had sex. Oh God. Um, she thought she might be pregnant, and I was like, well, it's there's this pill at CVS that you can get that makes sure that doesn't happen. And she's like, why would I take that? And I was like, do you know my middle name? We just met and you want to have a baby together? Like, we are on different, like, I've made a huge mistake. My bad, lady. I'm out of here. So, of course, I had sex with someone and then broke up with them. So she's insane about me. It wasn't my intention. She'd send me like knife emojis. I was thinking she's legitimately crazy because we went on a date to a Persian restaurant and she started throwing butter at me because of whatever I was saying. Uh, and So I threw it back. I was like, fuck you. And then she unwrapped the butter and threw it at me. And I was like, no, fuck you. And I unwrapped the butter and fucking mushed it in her hair. I was like, now you have to go home. A friend of mine was like, are you ever going to see that girl again? I was like, fuck no. She's fucking nuts. Then after a few knife emojis, I was like, well, she's kind of endearing. I should give it a shot. And that probably went for at least 6 months, maybe a year, maybe two. I don't know. Um, that person, now I realize now her childhood trauma turned her kind of in. I mean, yes, narcissism is very common with my exes, but she needed public praise um, for everything, and if she didn't get it, she'd feel a certain way. Um, and she's the type of person who everything that you do wrong, the list just gets longer. It's forgiven in the moment so that you can still date and fuck and whatever, but the list just gets longer and longer. So every blow up, she was Latina, Cuban. So every blow up gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it's like there's one time I left in the middle of the night and I was yelling at her and her dog started licking my hand. Like she was recording me and and talking shit to my face. Like it was on my birthday or something. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, why am I here? It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's like you're so upset about something. It's like, do you have to ruin every day of our lives? I was like screaming um, that this is like you're fucking abusing me. And she stood in front of me in the exit, and then she had this pit bull and it licked my hand. I was like, yeah, oh, that's adorable. You're a very smart animal, but fuck you too right now. Fuck you. I'm out of here. Um, so I was going back at like because that was tumultuous. I'd be like, "Hey friend, what are you doing?" I hang out with my friend, and she was holding space for me because I was her dream come true. I, you know, on paper at least. Um, and the main concern she had is that I'm not in the cult, and everything else lined up. It's like she liked how I looked. She liked that I work out. She liked that I had money, some money, more than her. Um, it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then eventually, like you break up. She dated other people while we broke up. A lot of the breakups were her, and then this one. I mean, the same thing kind of happened. It's just there's so many. You're putting your energy in so many different directions, just trying not to hurt. And what you're doing is creating a fucking bomb that is bound to go off. So, like, you can't mix this as a very tangled web, and it's very hard to unweave it, and you're just creating very bad karma for yourself. So, what ends up happening with the fiery Latina is that I take, because she's so bereaved, I take her and her dog to the desert. We like got a house out there or something. Took her on vacation. We get back from the vacation. It was for Valentine's Day, but not the day. So on Valentine's Day, she's mad at me for an undisclosed reason. So mad she can't even tell me what it is. And I was like, okay, so whoever you hang out with today, that's who you're interested in. So why don't you just tell me now? You know what I mean? No, I'm just mad at you, and I'm gonna hang out with my friends today. Okay, I know what gaslighting is, but like, you know, when someone convinces you you've done so much to hurt them, you're kind of in a, oh, how can I fix it? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, what could I do? Um, so by this time, relationship wise, I started to think like, okay, I will do everything. I will not get my needs met. I will 100% give effort, and if it doesn't work, then I'm done. Like, why not make this a logical thing and then stop doing this back and forth shit? So like I was getting somewhere at least. So she ends up cheating on me with a guy who I knew, who was in the car community, and I asked him. I was like, "Hey, something going on with you guys? Like, not in a threatening way. I was like, if something's going on, like I don't need to be here." But she's saying no, and you guys are hanging out a lot, from what I see. And she would post when they would hang out to try to bother me. So he swore up and down no and blah blah blah. And then like I remember I dropped off like a, she liked gift baskets for some reason. She was like the Easter bunny in a previous life or something. So I drop off a like present at her house, and this fucking guy is like changing a light bulb for her outside and bringing groceries. And I was like, so about nothing going on. he saw me, he got so nervous that I was gonna fuck him up, and he's like, "Hey, are you going to any car events?" I'm like, "What the like?" I just asked you, man to man, is something going? He's like, no, no. I've never touched her. We haven't even held hands. She's just mad at you, and she asked me for help or something. I was like, okay, so drop off the gift, and I text her. I'm like, I understand what's happening now. I'm not gonna play this game with you. I'm out. And then like a week later, get a new follower. Maybe I think I get a new follower. I get a message, hey, and then she deletes me and deletes the message. And then like a week after that, hey again, never mind. And I was like, is this about our exes dating? And she's like, yeah. I was like, you can ask me any question you want, I'll tell you the truth. And then I just want to be done with it. She's like, okay, so were they together on Valentine's Day? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I kicked him out of the house that day because he did something. And I was wondering where he went. So I was like, yeah, they were together. She's like, okay. So we started exchanging stories back and forth. And she said she knew things that could destroy this guy's life, like third strike felony, life in prison type thing. And I said, don't do anything. Because if what you say is true and what I say is true, these people are both narcissists. They'll kill each other. There's nothing, we don't have to get involved. God will handle it, I promise. And she's like, you're right. And turns out she's a spiritual person. We stayed in touch since then. And then, not like every now, like it was slow at first, but now she's in my inner circle. Like all that shit happened. So I have a new spiritual, like, it's really cool how it worked. I feel like the screen is blurry, but I'm not going to do anything about it right now. Am I? I have a blanket right here. Why not try? If you do something, you should try to do it right. Is that better? I'm in HD now. Oh, God. Okay, so I said give it 6 months. Don't do anything. Just wait 6 months. Like 5 months and fucking 29 days later, I get a text from somebody. Hey, did you see this? And I'm like, see what? And he sends me a screenshot from my ex, and it was a screenshot from her new boyfriend's Instagram on her page, and she wrote over it. So he made a poll that said, how many of you sleep with your adult siblings in the same bed? Like, yes, no, put a poll, and then had a picture of two like little kids in bed cuddling. So what he was doing was publicly accusing her of incest. To like God and everybody, not just every. And then this dumbass, she fucking screenshotted that, and she's like, "This is what mental illness looks like." I gave him 15 grand for an investment, and he bought fentanyl on the dark web, all this shit. And I send it to my friend. I was like, "It's real. It's fucking real. Karma is a real thing. Like, there's nothing I could have done to engineer anything worse than that." The worst thing we did is one time, this ex, she took me to a restaurant. She was blackout drunk. So like this day, she kept saying, "You get fucked up with your friends. You don't get fucked up with me." I'm like, I don't have to take care of my friends. I'm responsible for your well-being. So it doesn't matter how much I drink. I won't get drunk. And every time she went to the bathroom, she came back with shots. So I'm like 10 shots deep. I felt completely sober, and she's falling asleep at the table. But she told me when we got to this restaurant, if you bring in your bitches here, I'm gonna fuck you up. It's like, okay, like if you're as long as you're not crazy, there's no other bitches. Like, stop breaking up with me, and there won't be. Um, she fell asleep at the table after repeating herself a lot. It was very loud. She almost dropped, spilled her wine. I started recording her, and she's just so she sees. Do you understand what you're like and what you're doing? Falls asleep, legit, passes out in the restaurant. I have to fucking carry her to the car, strap her in, seatbelt, come back for the food and her purse and her jacket. Everybody's staring at me like this is. I've never been put in that situation before. I get her home upstairs in bed, and then finally, like I crawl into bed, and she's like, "What are we doing home? I'm fucked up. Let's go out." I'm like, she just came back from the dead. Um, why not tell that story? Doesn't have anything to do with how it ended, but um, for a long time, she was writing negative things about me. So people were sending me. I didn't follow her. I've never been the type to like see what my ex is doing online or some shit. They all did that to me though. I notice women do that. They want to see if you're happier than them, and if you are, they want to come fuck that up. So keep that in mind, man. Look very miserable if you want to keep them away, or just hide it. Um, so what had happened was she kept talking shit on me, and I wasn't. I mean, like in my own community of car people as well. So I stopped like going to car events even. It's just like okay, yeah, let me take a break. I never started going back actually, and she was doing it persistently. And I told my new friend, I was like, "Do you want to get revenge?" She's like, "Yeah." And I took her to that restaurant. She told me not to bring anybody at, with my girl best friend and my sister, and we all posted stories that she was watching with her fake Instagram account. And my girl best friend was like, the food was meh, but the company was great. She was a good wingman. Um, and I could tell my ex was fuming from that. So she took the new guy to a restaurant. He was like a geeky guy. She took him to a restaurant and he wore glasses. So she had him take his glasses off. When his glasses off, he was like Millhouse. His eyes were like very tiny, and he had his belly was sticking out. He's skinny fat like ET. And she took a picture of him sitting there like the turtle man from The Simpsons. And she's like, "This is what a real man looks like." And I knew I got to her, and I was like, "Okay, no more of this game." Like blocked her fake Instagram. Like we don't have to keep doing this. A couple years later, uh, I emailed her because I had heard that she told this her new boyfriend was a drug dealer. So she had told him to get people to come break my legs or kill me or something. I don't think seriously, but it's like it's I was wrong too. So I apologized for like my behavior. I was unconscious. I didn't know what I was doing, and I've been through a lot since then. So I just sent her an email apologizing and just wishing her well. And then 2 days later, I'm at a restaurant, and this bitch walks in, like she already knew where I was. It was weird. Sits down in my line of sight, and then I could see her and her now fiance, new guy, different guy, an ex that I wasn't supposed to worry about, mind you, who was always looking at my stories. Instagram really is hell. Um, I was like, "Why is your ex from 15 years ago looking at my stories?" She's like, "I don't know." It's because every time she broke up with me, she'd be like, "You know, what's up?" So she was doing the same thing I was doing technically. It was a wash. So I sent her an email. She doesn't respond. 2 days later, I see her at a restaurant. We don't. I At least after the first glance, I didn't look in her direction again. And then she, I get a call from a restricted number, and I was like, "Hello, hi." I don't know why she talks like a muppet, but I got your email. Um, by the way, my fiance saw you. I didn't see you. So just so you know, it's like, okay, very unconscious thing to say. It's like very, it's like there's no reason to say this, but I saw. But anyways, um, we talk, and then I start talking about like becoming conscious and stuff like this, and the things that I went through, and becoming, you know, spiritual, having a connection to my own definition of God. And when I started talking to her about things that she could do to improve where she's at and how she reacts to things and things that may be an issue with her, she got really upset and cut the call short and was like, "No, I'm not going to see a therapist. Everybody's fucked up but me." Boom. I was like, okay. And then I think a year later, it was this year. Uh, called me again and said, I was rereading your email. I've been through some really rough things in life and in work, and I was comparing to the things that you said. Can you tell me more about the things that you went through? We talked for like 3 or 4 hours, and it was like, oh, like this is why we were cool before. Like you have this in you, but also I don't want anything to do with you. Um, she had a fiance and broke up with him, and she's still the problem, frankly. Uh, but it was nice to. She had questions about everything. You know, just what happened to that girl? I'm like, well, she was keeping me as an option, and she's like, I fucking told you. I'm like, I know, it's fine. Everything happens for a reason. So it ended well. Like we had a really good phone call, and like you know, it seemed like the things that I was saying, like to become conscious, is to like find out what's wrong with you, essentially. And it seemed like she was open to it, and she was super narcissistic. So I was like really, really afraid to, you know, apologizing is like it's an ego death, so it's death to the ego. It feels like dying to her, to any woman ever. And she like her transformation made me think that there's hope. I was like, there's other people who I see have the same thing. Like, if I'm like trying to help, and then you're met with like fucking very bad resistance. I didn't understand that. I understand now that essentially, if you have figured yourself out, your job is to just hold your vibration. Just keep your thoughts and attitude and everything high, and people will meet you rather than say, do you know what's wrong with you? Everything. Let's go down the list one by one. Let me tell you how you're fucked up. So, um, I remember thinking, I was like, there's someone in my life who I really feel like could benefit from me, my energy, my knowledge, my whatever. And I remember thinking, I was like, if this girl could change, I bet you anybody can. They say narcissism can't be cured. Like modern psychology says no. Um, but I think it's a spiritual problem. So it's just a self awareness problem. So usually, like what life did to her was throw a curveball that made her become conscious. She went through really like she's suing her job. It was so bad. So I was like, huh. And then weirdly, now I see the person that I thought, is beyond helping and blah blah blah. Is all of a sudden like calling things out that she sees that unconscious behaviors in other people. I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? Like things that I didn't like, and like predicting the cycles and shit. I'm like, you're really on it. Have you been faking it this whole time? I like it's in us. Like your subconscious has all the answers. It's already in there. Just how many barriers you have to get to it. Because as soon as you're emotional, you don't have access to higher thought. You're using your lizard brain. But if you have access to higher thought, you have the answers to the whole fucking universe. So I got one less enemy. She hit me up again after like hello, and I was like, "Are you bored?" Like she's like, "No." She was trying to hang out. I was like, "Fucking no. Good luck. No." Um, but something I learned in that is how like it's either you believe there's a God and there's destiny and stuff like this, or you don't. So I think that God, there are people that are meant to cross your path for your growth. Most of them seem to be to hurt you into growing. And I don't believe it's necessarily God, but it's your subconscious mind that's connected to God. So it's like you're usually drawn to something that triggers something in you. So you become conscious and aware of what's inside you. Me, I'm inside you. So in my dating quest, I was finding very injured women. I was saying, "What's wrong with you?" Not realizing that there's something that I'm doing to attract that. There's something they're reflecting back at me that I'm somehow projecting. The fights felt similar. You know what I mean? Like I was recreating like a nightmare scenario constantly, and the purpose is to like you're basically creating unconsciously. You are always creating your worst fears, abandonment or cheating or whatever you're afraid of, you're going to create. So if you are unconscious, you are a conscious manifester, right? So if you are unconscious, you're unconsciously manifesting. And what you unconsciously manifest is danger or fucking bad luck or fucking bad relationships or fucking this or that, fucking that. The idea is that until the darkness becomes conscious, until the unconscious becomes conscious, it will lead your life and you will call it fate. And that's something Jung said. So, this is the point of our subconscious brings us to a crossroads constantly. It's always setting it up. It's like you throw the bowling ball down and then the pins fall over, but then it's working on setting the shit back up. Just wait. So what I see even in my life is that I'm in a cycle of I'm getting the same lesson in a different way. I've already lived this part. I've already experienced it. And because I have, it's slightly different. But because I have before, I'm not panicking. It's not overwhelming. It's not scary. It's not, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I know what this is. Now I get to be an alchemist. Now I get to steer. I'm not a victim, just reacting. You know what I mean? Because it is, I mean, it's a very scary situation to be in. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give another story. So with my girl best friend, because it was back and forth and all this stuff, and I kept telling her you should move on. She's a pretty girl, so she went on a lot of dates. There was a guy at her gym who was really after her. This is who she ended up marrying, and she thought he was beneath her social class. So didn't have a good education, and he didn't have a good job. He was working in retail somewhere at the time, but because he wanted her so bad, and because I kept abandoning her and he was there, they started to become close. And then he's like, I want to I was thinking of joining church. I was thinking he was just getting closer to her, like weaving himself into her life, and then molding himself to match what she would accept, which I would never do. But God bless him. Good luck. So it was like, okay, well, I'm nothing now, but I'm going to do this. I want to do that. So he had a plan for the future. He obviously was like, you know, there for her every time that I broke her heart. So they started forming this bond, but she still felt, I'm sure, also like money was a factor. I made that clear, but um, like quality of life wise, the reason I know that is her when she was going back and forth between us, her father talked to me on the phone and said, "Well, I heard her talking to her mom in the kitchen. She said, well, if I marry this guy, he doesn't make any money. So if I and I like nice things, so I'll have to buy them for myself. So I'm not convinced." And he told me that. So like, you're still in the running, man. Like, keep trying. And I didn't until like it was over. I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? What did you say? What does that have to, I thought we were talking about like you guys talk about God and shit. I thought we were talking about soulmates and destiny and shit like this. What and love? What the fuck? What I can buy you is a like a major factor. Fuck, dodged a major bullet. People tell on themselves, but I knew who these people were. I ignored it. I swept it under the rug to hold on to an image of them that was, first of all, that they wanted me to have, but that allowed me to stay where I was, you know, comfortable, because they needed something from me. So they were always talking me up, and then I started to see how they actually thought and felt. I could hear the conversations that happened behind my back about how they're going to use me and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. You think you're getting one over on me, but you ain't. And it's not because I couldn't tell, it's because you're an idiot for doing that. You see, God punished you. So eventually, she was cheating on that guy with me, and I'm sure probably that it happened in reverse as well. Uh, I think I took her to Australia, and she gave me her phone for something, and he sent her a text like, "Who am I supposed to hook up with when you're gone?" And I was like, "Check your phone." And she like full panic mode, and no, he just wants to. I've never heard of it. You know I was mad initially, but I was like, I've been telling her to move on. Like, it is weird that you're on my family vacation while you're hooking up with somebody else, but um, every 2 weeks I wanted something different. So I was like, I wanted her to be there even if there wasn't anything romantic happening. I just didn't want to be alone. So we still had fun together, and like I don't want to make it seem like it's all bad. Um, just because someone's intentions aren't good, you know, there's still good times, I suppose. Not I suppose there was good times. So I said this story like he goes away for training, and then she's acting like my girlfriend the whole time and doing things a girl in a relationship shouldn't do. And then when he gets back, they like pick up the relationship, and then I tried to I did move on actually. And that thing where they see you're happy, they see you're happier than they are, and they're like, wait, no, I don't feel like that. Wait, hold on, don't leave yet. Um, and I was still unconscious. So I learned from therapy to set a boundary and shit like this, but I didn't understand the bigger picture yet. How there's a spiritual component to everything, and I wasn't yet conscious. So I let her back into my life, and then the ensuing chaos is what created my consciousness, what awoke me. So the deeper betrayal, the seeing all the lies, seeing like reality basically. I was like, oh my god, I'm in hell and I'm surrounded by demons. I thought these people were my friends. Um, So there was a love triangle, and the person that moves on first, you always feel like it looks like they have it. They have the life. They're living the life. They just, you know what I mean? Like just no skip in the step. Like you went from fucking me to fucking somebody else, and then fucking me, and then fucking somebody else, back and forth. Obviously, I know that's bad because I did it. I saw. I didn't get away with it. So this could have been my karma, frankly. So yeah, I'm sure in a lot of ways it was. So she moves on right away. I'm like starting to realize the truth. Like initially, I was like, "Hey, you don't have to wait." You know what I mean? Like I know it wasn't gonna work with us, so go be happy and post whatever you want to post. And then slowly it started dawn because I was becoming conscious. Slowly it started dawning on me, like all the things that were said to me and done. All of a sudden, the puzzle pieces came together, and I was like, wait. The dad said, "Give me your money." She was shopping for fucking jewelry right before this. She knew that she was gonna break up with me. Like all this stuff started clicking, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" And I freaked out. I freaked the fuck out. Like my dark night of the soul started with actual a psychotic break. Like I was fucking 1,000-page emails. No one would ever fucking read this shit. Like, you know why you're a fucking dickhead asshole? It's because fuck you and fuck you and fuck everyone who looks like you. Fuck your family too. Um, I was in a very, very, very new and strange spot because at this point, it wasn't just pain like I experienced with the girl with the secret family. This was like a bigger betrayal, and I had the added benefit of now I knew what weed was. Um, because of my like health diagnosis, I was supposed to die this year. The doctor said, like even if I get a kidney transplant, he was like 4 or 5 years on the outside. Um, so I started doing. Like, there's a new way. There's a new wave of things I could use to numb myself, and definitely it was not, you know, not a good idea. I found out firsthand. So I'm sure that contributed to the Dark Night of the Soul being extra bad, right? So I started. I didn't just burn bridges. I was burning the whole fucking village. I was like, on site, motherfucker. It's going down. It's like when I see your father, I'm gonna fuck him up. Um, yeah, I was really really angry and trying so hard not to feel it. Trying so hard not to feel it because you start replaying everything in your head. It's like, oh my god, since the beginning, I was being used. These people do this with everybody. I started to see like everybody in their social circles, like, so what can you give us? How can you meet our needs? Because will get you into heaven if you give us the things. It was such a weird thing to do as people. I think it's worse than begging. Also, uh, why beat around the bush? I think it's horrific that anyone allows this to happen. We all know you're lying. Everybody in society knows that every religious person is full of shit. Do not give them your money. Do not give them your money. Do something with your fucking hands yourself to help people, please. There's no reason this should be a thing in an advanced fucking modern society. Oh, God said this one time a long time ago. He's been really silent about the bullshit happening right now, though. It's like, how are we doing this still? You know, how do we allow this? So, oh, I gotta mention something else. This one's gonna be long. Okay, so what I saw, like I saw her move on and all this stuff, and it really upset me. And then eventually, she gets engaged, and I know that because a friend texts me out of the blue and says, "Just so you know, we congratulated your ex on her engagement." Why the fuck are you telling me? And I know he acts innocent about it, but he knew that would bother me. I'm gonna confront him about it eventually. Like, hey, because he's that type of person. Um, acting, you know, there's something in him that, you know, I don't know. I still allow him in my life because I have love for him and grace and stuff, but a little too many of those things have happened. And then later, different friends like sent a picture of her engagement from Instagram and said, "Oh, she's engaged." And then, when I see the picture, my heart drops initially. I'm like I was afraid of seeing this. And then when I looked at it, I was like, she doesn't look the same. And then I look at the caption, and it said the decision was easy. And I was like, that's weird because every year for my birthday, she had 10 pictures of us together on vacations and doing shit over the years. And she'd have a long paragraph of how much I meant to her and all this shit. And I was like, she's projecting of all the things. And she was an English major, so she's like very verbose. She wanted to be like a sports writer or something. I was like, that's it. And I was like, oh, she ain't happy. I immediately, after the initial, I was like, oh, bitch, you're faking it. And I told my friends, I was like, I bet you she's pregnant. I said it to everybody. He was like, did you hear? I was like, I bet you she's pregnant. Then a wedding happened soon after. It's like, oh, ooh, was she a little puffy? So I don't, I'm not saying this to be like, fuck you. But, it was funny that I wasn't religious enough to be allowed in the family. Obviously, religious, it means pay enough. It has nothing to do with following religion. Um, it just felt vindicating. You mean? And then I know that she doesn't want to work, and then this poor fuck who wanted this more than anything has to really struggle to make ends meet. It's Orange County. It's fucking hard. It's expensive to live here. Um, so in a way, I got my karma. They got their karma. You know what I mean? I saw how the chips fell. Is that a thing? Chips fall where they may. What kind of chips? Doritos? Um, Poker chips? Um, Highway Patrol? So I think that everything evens out. You know what I mean? Like I definitely wouldn't go back and change anything. At the time, it was the hardest thing that I've ever dealt with in my life. I was fucking for so long. As long as you don't understand your pain, you'll be in pain. You gotta understand your pain. And then this is when, and we need this pain to alchemize. So, um, as long as I resented her and her father and everybody who fucking wronged me, my life was suffering. I was holding on to a lot of pain and resentment and anger, and it was killing me. Like, you could see it in my bank account. I didn't have motivation to do anything. I was just fucking completely depleted. You want to talk about energy vampires? Like, it's like they engineered my, fall from grace to benefit from it. And then you don't beat the devil by playing his game. You gotta love him. You gotta pity him. You gotta forgive. And when I did that, everything changed. And it really opened my eyes to the spiritual consequences of our thoughts and actions. So our thoughts are important. Our actions are far more important. So I forgave them, but I made a physical act of donating money to their church, which is his left pocket probably, whichever pocket as well. And I neutralized the energy, and I was divinely guided for this. Like I intuitively knew once I wasn't in pain anymore. It's like people in the spiritual community are like, I just gotta download uh And every time someone says that, I want to punch him right in the fucking mouth. I got it download. It's called a thought. You had a thought. You fuck. Why are your thoughts come from God? Shut up. It's either all of our thoughts are. Just say I was thinking. These are special thoughts. It was a download. It just came to me. So I actually do think that all thought is God. All consciousness is God, but it's just a fucking annoying, pretentious, cunty way of. This thought is a special thought, and I'm gonna uplift you with it. Just say the right words to make you feel good, make me feel like I did something. I got to download it. It says you're gay. Um, so okay, so like I saw how it played out in my life. I saw that you don't get away with shit. So if you deceive people, like white lies, even or lying by omission, women do this fucking shit a lot. Lying by omission. It's like I saw this comedian. He's like out with his girlfriend. It's a in a comedy special. He's like he's out with his girlfriend and she sees a guy and says hi and they hug and he's like, "Who was this guy? Did you date him? Did you fuck him?" And he's like, when she's specific that something happened, she's like, "No, I didn't fuck him. Okay, did you blow him? He blow you? I didn't fuck him. Okay." Uh, Hilarious. Uh, I don't remember that. I don't think he's a funny comedian other than that one part. Brent something Ernst maybe. Brent. Anyways, watch a lot of comedy. So, because I'm dying inside. So I want to smile, and it's hard. So I saw how it works. So now, being a son, like I might not be the wise wizard who did it all, but I fucking know some shit now, and I'm sharing my knowledge. This is what it was for. This is why I went through hell, right? It's all for a reason. So now I get to tell people, hey, lying by omission is lying. If you tell one person or make them think that you're exclusive, what's going to happen is the other guy is going to show up where you're at. It's going to happen. There are no secrets in this universe. It doesn't happen. So the best policy, honestly, is honesty. It's so much easier. It's so much easier. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to. An honest man after never has said. Remember what he said. It's Mark Twain. I don't know if he talked like that. He had one accent. Um, he also said there once was a big black guy named Edward Jim. So I don't know if everything he said was perfectly awesome. Um, I absolutely plagiarized Louis C.K. with that. So um, I feel like now I'm a spiritual guide to people, people going through stuff. I'm like, yes, ask me. I'm the wise wizard. There's some guys at work. So this is the other story. I might come back to dating stuff. Should I finish with dating stuff? Love triangles always end bad. So make a fucking decision. You should at least close one door to explore the other. You know what I mean? It's okay to not know things, but if you leave every door open and you're exchanging energy with multiple people, you are going to pay for it. If you're fucking more than one person, I promise you it's going to be much worse. You're really creating chaos. So, like, please keep it in your pants. Um, or close the doors. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, and be honest. Not, I'll see you later. Leave me alone for the next 3 hours. Like, hey, I'm dating someone. Because when you're honest, there's no karma. If you're dishonest or you're trying to manipulate somebody, there's karma. There's either you're doing something right or it's wrong. There's no gray area. You know what I mean? Your punishment will be a gray area, like depending on how bad you're fucking someone over. I mean, I don't think you'll die for the white lie, but you're going to not enjoy what happens. I promise. Just from experience. These are spiritual laws. So, honesty is the best policy, and also like it feels so good to be unburdened, to not have to like worry about it, even looking at your phone and shit, or getting a text from him while you're with him. Um, Anything else, dating wise? I talked about karma and relationships. I talked about okay. So on the subject of spiritual law and me being a guru now, so there's some guys at the shop I work with that see what I do, and they started calling me Batman. Like he's like Bruce Wayne, and then one of them was like, no, he's like Alfred, the guy who helps Bruce Wayne because he's the tech guy. And I'll accept both. Um, so I go into this shop the other day, and this guy has his gun on the couch. I'm like, "Are you expecting somebody? Like, what the fuck is this?" And he's like, "I got jumped this morning. Three black dudes. Like 15 seconds after I was out of my apartment, they kept grabbing for my watch and my necklace. I dropped one of them. Then he's explaining what happened, and this guy's in the same group as the people who got robbed recently at a mall that I also know. So like same roof. So this is it's getting kind of suspicious. And this guy's like a church going guy. So he's telling me what happened, and I was like, "What did you post online?" He's like, "The night before, I posted like a new watch I got, but I also posted this paragraph of like someone thanking me, and I'm trying to uplift people and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Let me tell you something." It's like I know more about this world than most people. He's like, "What the fuck does that mean?" I was like, "Let's go through this. Like these dudes that post all this shit get robbed. You post something, you get robbed. It's like even if this is random occurrence, there's no such thing as random occurrence. You're doing something wrong. You're inviting the devil in." So I started going through the things that I've learned and know, and it challenges everything that he believes. Right? His like head was spinning. He's like, "So why?" He had so many questions. Why does it? Why is this? Why is that? I was like, "Because this, because that." I had an answer for everything. And he's Christian. He was thinking of becoming Muslim, and he's like, which way is it? I was like, it's the same fucking. Is the devil either way, dude? Organized like I want to be like, are you stupid? Answer the question. Are you fucking stupid? Why would you take anyone else's fucking word for what and who God is? It's your responsibility. He's like, what if you're lying? Why should I trust you? He's like, you should not. That's my point. You should fucking not. No secondhand information. Your responsibility. You go figure it out. It's your job as a human being. Fucking you go figure it out. You're experiencing something yourself. You need someone to tell you what's right and what's wrong. You're being shown. How many times has happened in your friend group also? And the solution is everybody's strapped now. Do you think that's a good thing? Now everybody has a gun? Because I guarantee you, you start popping off in revenge, that straight bullet hits somebody. This is California. They ain't gonna be happy. Wherever that lands, you're in trouble. Even if it lands in the fucking face of the guy who's robbing you, you're in trouble. And also, like, you did something spiritually you should not be doing. Um, so I got the gears turning in his head. You know what I mean? If he has questions, I'll answer, and then I'm just gonna point people in the direction. I'm no longer like the answer is this, because Jung said we don't tell people the truth. We teach them how to see. So it's like you're experiencing life firsthand. You are the universe experiencing itself. What the fuck do you need me to tell you anything for? You know? Um, I asked someone who is on the ascension path, who's becoming conscious, to pay attention signs and synchronicities when they're with someone. You know? It's like pay attention. Like the universe talks to you, so pay attention when you're with that person. What signs and synchronicities do you see? And then after they hung out, I was like, so what did you see? Nothing, not a single thing. And there's two reasons. One is you're numbing yourself. It's like if you're not thinking about anything else or observing anything else, you are there to silence the voice in your head. So you're getting a temporary need met, and it will eventually that the ability for this thing to patch the hole is going to disappear. And the main reason is when you are not on your path, when you're not following God's path for you, or your higher self's path for you, or the universe, or whoever the fuck you believe in, the universe stops talking to you. It says this in the book The Alchemist. He talks about it. He's on a hero's journey. At each step of the way after a fuck up, he climbs his way back up a little higher. And he can say, I can stay here. I can have a good life. This is good enough. Or he can go where he's guided and where he's meant to go, where the destiny is. And everybody stops somewhere midway. Everybody you've ever met stops midway. Like, oh, this is good enough. I'm going to marry the doctor and have the easy life or whatever. And then their soul is screaming. Their soul is unhappy. So there's always a problem. And you can see it manifesting in their life. Um, you can settle for a certain amount of misery and call it happiness. It's very rare that I've ever seen someone do the work on themselves before they get married. So if you don't do the work on yourself and you're both not like trying to do the work, what do you think's gonna happen? And a conscious person can't be with an unconscious person, and I mean it is your responsibility. You came here to grow and learn, and you have a soul. You have to fucking nurture it. And then obviously you can quit at any time. You can kill yourself at any time. You can fucking marry whoever makes your life easy. But there's no such thing in a spiritual world. If there's a God, God wants the best thing for you. What's stopping you from having the best thing is you. Your disbelief in your ability to attain it, your lack of understanding of yourself and the world that you live in, and your lack of effort. These are things that prevent you from achieving greatness, from having your name on a billboard. Look what fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger did. Um, Statistically impossible. Statistically impossible. Um, so, yeah, the reason they didn't see any signs of synchronicities with a person is like when you are off the path, the universe doesn't talk to you. You lose your gift. You lose your, you know what I mean? There's nothing here. And that's what you are, that's the life that you'll get is nothing spiritual, which is okay for people. It's an okay decision to make, but um, when you start becoming aware of your soul, like that's what was screaming at me. The closer I got to marrying the wrong person, I didn't understand why, but it was fucking screaming at me. And the thing is that people are afraid of this pain, so they'll have very superficial relationships. They'll keep it short and try to extend it as long as they can. But as soon as the idea of permanency comes up and stuff, like the panic starts to set in. Oh, I don't know if I want this. Oh, what if this doesn't work? What if this is the wrong person? All those thoughts are basically it's the thoughts you're supposed to have. You're supposed to think through it. But in order to prevent it, you don't just like okay, only this close, please. Only this close until this much time, and then like figure it out. Fucking fail fast. Figure it out. Time is a fucking wasted. So what else? Okay, so in The Alchemist, he talks about how uh, he's at an oasis and there's a war, and he predicted the war because he saw birds fighting in the sky. And then he becomes like the entire village of the oasis is like, this guy's our fucking guy now. He became rich, he became wealthier than he ever has been. He had a love interest there, and he's like, I could stay here and be the fucking king of the oasis, maybe. But eventually, because I stop following the path, the universe will stop talking to me. I'll stop having this gift. And then I'm just another guy. And then it'll fizzle out. So Wayne Dyer said, when you're in flow with the universe, synchronicity becomes the norm rather than the exception. So every day, synchronicities for me. Every single day, I was typing something this morning and saw a squirrel, and the person I was typing to, a squirrel was relevant to. It's like there's a lot of, and yeah, animals also have, I guess, spiritually they have messages. Um, and it was specifically like a message about, I think, leaving your comfort zone, and that was also what I was typing about. So interesting. So interesting. Imagine if I'm right. Imagine if that's true. What the fuck have you been doing, dumbass? Wasting your life. Um, Becoming conscious is a rebirth. And it's called that because the new you shouldn't look anything like the old you. I mean, you'll look the same, uh, but if you do it right, you can't be the same. Energetically, you'll be completely different. So you'll be leaving old patterns, old friends, old, you know what I mean? And obviously, that's hard to do. That's why nobody wants to do it. Eventually, as you become conscious, the more you try to stay unconscious, the swifter God kicks you in the dick to adjust your course. So the more conscious I became, everything that I did to numb myself, hanging out with the wrong people or drinking or whatever the fuck, immediate repercussions. It was not, I kept thinking like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm expecting something bad, so I'll go to the place and I won't even drink. Still bad. Like, okay, fuck. I get it. All right. I understand. I'm doing something wrong. I'm supposed to help the world and I'm just wasting my time here. Like, at least if I'm thinking about how to improve my life, quality of life, other people's lives. I'm just sitting at a bar, like, looking around. Hmm. Huh. People bumping into me and fucking fighting. It's just, it ain't the thing. So, um, today, um, okay, so I was talking about a lot of the, I saw 333 for so long and 777, I was relating to a certain person. And then yesterday I made a change. And today, the numbers that I saw constantly were 999, which like, absolutely coincides with the spiritual meaning of this shit right now. Also, we had a lunar eclipse last night, which it talks about spiritual growth and change and ending karmic cycles. Like, it's actually like, I watch these tarot things and it's fucking crazy how accurate it is. I don't really get these bitches get the information. How do you know what the fucking thing is? Jupiter's here and then it fucks this other planet and it represents this. So, okay. I don't know if that's true, but fucking it's happening. It's happening. I can't explain that other than there must be, obviously, there's a method to the madness. And I wonder if other people are going through the same thing. Honestly, it seems like a lot of people are going through something similar right now. Ending cycles. I'm seeing it everywhere. Um, we still have free will. So, like, if you don't take this chance, I guess you got to wait for the next one. But, um, in my spiritual journey, I did everything wrong multiple times just to make sure. Like, I was like, okay, don't do this. I get it. Thank you, God. Won't do it again. Then after a period of time, I feel like, okay, I haven't learned anything new. Why don't I go do? Oh fuck, I'm sorry. Oh shit, shit, shit. Okay, got it, got it, got it. Yep, yep. It was worse that time. I understand. Please don't hurt me. Um, but I also feel so. There's this lady Dolores Cannon. She talked about like first wave volunteers, that people that come become conscious, and the idea of becoming conscious is then it's contagious, which makes sense to me that there were so many roadblocks to me becoming conscious. There's a lot of people intercepting me, especially religious people. These cunts. Hey, let me stop you from thinking. I talk to God, even though God doesn't give gifts to fucking criminals and scumbags. That ain't God. You know what I mean? Do you know what These people look like they all look like Kenneth Copeland. If that ain't a demon, I don't know what the fuck is. I bet you, I bet you, if you were sitting in a room with that man and he's staring at you, you'd have chills. If he came down with those fucking glowing eyes, he's like a White Walker. Fuck that guy. It's crazy. He must be hypnotizing people. Who the fuck would pay this man? He should be like living under a bridge or something. Well, how the fuck is he so rich with that mug? Ugly motherfucker. Fucking. And obviously, his outside is just a representation of what's happening inside. Cunt's fucked. He has cunt eyes. I learned that from Australians. They have really funny words. I was hanging out with my Australian friends and their dad. Dad is such an interesting guy. First time I met him, I talked to him at like the kitchen counter for like 8 hours till like 4 in the morning. Just immediate best friends. I can't even explain it. I I should send him an email. I'd love to. I think this winter I'll go visit. But at a wedding or something, he looked at his son and he's like, "I wouldn't fuck half the girls you fuck, mate. If the dog wasn't there, he'd fuck the chain." What a fight! Is that a saying? I fucking cried. I fucking cried. That was the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. Your father said that? Also, that accent is adorable. For a long time, I remember I couldn't get the phrase "she'll be right" out of my head. My friend was driving me from like fucking Melbourne to Mildura. Mildura. There's no J in it, but that's how they talk. Mildura, and it's a long drive, and I was sitting in the passenger seat like, "She'll be right. She'll be right." I would just say it in different ways, and like I was just I don't know what the fuck was going on. I'd come back and people are like, "Are you from Australia?" Started just talking like that, and they use cunt so liberally. It's so liberating. It's like, oh, I didn't know you could use it like that. It's a good thing. It's a bad thing. It's everything. And Australia is just cunt. It's everything in Australia. Cunt. They changed the name of the whole place, the continent. Cunt. She'll be right. Oh yeah, she'll be right. Oh yeah. You know what's fucking weird? The most dangerous people in Australia are called bikies. It's like why do you have a cute nickname for the? I was like, who are the bikies? Oh, they'll fuck you. They're fucked, mate. They're feral. I couldn't say mate properly for a long time. I had to hear it enough. It was just so foreign to me. Um, Only low class British people say mates usually. Did you know the Cockney accent? Oi, governor. That is what created Australian accent. Because there was all the criminals and bullshit. They sent them to Australia and like, good luck fighting the Roos, you fuck. And the Abos. I don't know if that's a derogatory term. I apologize in advance. But also, fuck you. Who cares? I didn't mean it maliciously. I can say whatever words I want. Freedom. Okay, I obviously ran out of things to say, but this is the most fun part. I actually feel really happy because I see the fruits of my labor. I also just see the improvement in the people around me, the people that I can't tell you how fulfilling it is. It's like the most fulfilling thing to me. So I felt like I was meant to hold space for something or someone for their growth. And I know that if I tried to have like a romantic interest right now, it wouldn't work. It would take me away from. I kept thinking, what is my purpose? What do I do, God? Who do I help? And He put people here for me to do it. And I couldn't see it because it didn't. There was a lot of resistance. But as soon as you just chill out, just relax, open my heart, like If you're afraid of um, being hurt, you cannot love anybody. You cannot receive love either. You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. But this is like you're deciding to be hurt. If someone cheats on you, fucking who cares? You're just gonna like obviously like that's does that suck? Sure. But you're gonna decide to be dead. I saw this Reddit post where this lady, her fiance died like the night before their wedding. That's a rough one. And his ashes were on an urn on her mantle for 2 years, and she put her life on pause so she could mourn this dead guy. Spiritually speaking, I'm like, okay, obviously he was supposed to die. Like maybe he wasn't your person, or this is meant to make you into something. But she just accepted defeat. Her mother threw away the ashes. She flips out. She goes to Reddit. Crazy people on the internet. What should I do? Kill your mom, move out, set a boundary, never talk to her again. I was like, I created an account to be like, your mom had your best interest at heart. You have to understand, like, okay, does that suck? Sure, but he ain't even in there. He's not sitting in your cookie jar, you bitch. Fucking move on. What do you think he'd want from you? Okay, well, just kill yourself then. What the fuck are you doing? Just laying down for 2 years? Fuck. Like, I would do the same thing your mom did. Forgive her because you need people in your life, obviously, that care about you enough to force you to fucking move on. I got this person was like, if my mom, blah blah blah. I was like, you're projecting, bitch. Your mom sucks, so you're telling this person to cut their mom out. Shut the fuck up. You know the fuck you're talking about. Don't give people advice. This lady was talking about, oh, I have a Bratz doll collection. I'm pregnant, and my fiance threw away all of my dolls. The first comment was, get an abortion right now. Get an abortion. Like, does he know where he sold them? Can you get them back, first of all? Like, before you just fucking murder somebody? Is there a step before murder? The fuck? I was like, hey, think before you give someone advice. What the fuck is that? And of course, Reddit was very hostile to me. You have a, it's a bot fucking, it's hell. The internet is hell. I'm convinced. There's no place for me. I noticed I was, no matter how positive or uplifting I tried to be, I was like, I'm talking to fucking bots. I realized that on Instagram too. I made a comment on like South Park, South Park's Instagram. It's not funny anymore. It's not even like veiled messages. You're just like you just turn characters into Trump rather than make a metaphor. So you guys are fucking lazy. It was clearly AI written shit. I'm sure Matt and Trey are just tired of writing the fucking show. And then some girl is like, "Oh, they don't make a show just for you." I'm like, well, they fucking do. I'm the target audience. Grew up with it. And then I look at the profile and I was like, you're a fucking bot. I'm like, no, I'm not. How can you prove that? You know, like just there's 8 pictures. They're all very vague and no person or face, no interactions on the profile. I was like, oh my god, I'm sitting here yelling at the void. What a fucking creepy thing to be doing. I deleted my Instagram shortly after that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, not only is it unhealthy, but like it's social engineering, obviously. So let me not be engineered. I want to be an individuated person. I don't want to be what you guys are. You don't seem too happy, you know? Um, is that all I have to say? I love Australia. Stray a cat? I think that's everything. Did I learn anything else? I also saw 888 a lot today. So, oh, you know what else is the person that I've been, I don't know what you'd call it, holding space for, always notices. and it doesn't take a long time, notices how I look physically depleted. Like I shrink physically in their presence. And I am giving them so much of my energy. I really am. Not just like in person, but I'm like always thinking about how to help and how to uplift the person and get them to the next level. So I am giving. It's interesting that that person sees it and I feel it. Um, Interesting. I wish I could be specific about what's happening right now. Maybe in the future I'll get permission, but it's very interesting. It's very interesting because I'm watching this person's subconscious mind lay out, like physically in the world, like what do you want your future to be? Which path are you going down? Who are you? And I think obviously the answer is if you don't know who you are, you don't make a decision. But you don't know that till you try it. So my advice is try, but try honestly, because what happens is like people give half effort and then they see a red flag and then they pull the parachute and they decide that something's not right for them, and then it never quite leaves them. The door is still open, the windows are open, there's always an entry. Like when you're done with someone, it should be so done that you don't have to block them. But if they're the type of person who you need to block, like you need to protect your energy, because your energy is going to all these places. God does not give you what you want. You cannot get, like, who are you trying to be? You cannot achieve anything with all these doors and windows open. Your energy is fucking leaking. And there will be proof in your life of that. Like work will go bad, or your luck, or your emotional stability will be bad. Like that's enough. You're being spread too thin. It's like jam on toast. Um, so I encourage the person to make. It's like if you're undecided, uh, make your mistake in a wise way to minimize. Because I've been through it. It's so exciting. I can't tell you how excited I am. And also, like, I have a new level of closeness to somebody that is becoming conscious. It's like this is what I thought was going to happen. I thought I knew it. I knew the signs were telling me something. Of course, there's free will, of course, but I think this person is on it. So it'll be really cool to see where this goes. Um, it really like lit a fire in me, like made me excited that I always refer to like going through things that I can't even explain. No one would understand unless they saw it. And I know the purpose is so that I can help people and guide people. It's like I was protected the whole time. I felt like I wasn't. But sometimes God lets you see things so you know what's at stake. And yeah, my advice to the guy who had the attempted robbery, he didn't even call the police because other bad stuff are going wrong in his life, and he doesn't have a good relationship with the police right now. So he he could benefit from the conversation I had with him. You know, if I didn't say something, he might continue down the same path, and then maybe something worse happens. So it's my duty, responsibility. Do you want to know what I know? If you don't, I'll shut up. If you do, I'll tell you some shit. I tell you what. But you can tell, like I'm in a good mood. Everything's fine. It's fine. Sometimes like things are stagnant or they're not going in the short term. They don't go how you think they're supposed to go. And it's hard to have faith in those times. It's like I almost forget that signs and synchronicity are real. I almost forget that there's a God. I almost forget like when you don't see proof of it happening, it's like I don't see the strings moving, setting things in motion. So it's like you just have to kind of wait. I asked God for a sign yesterday. Um, I was like, okay, God, like this is one of those times I need you to tell me something now. It's like because I'm taking like I'm taking action, I'm taking like a risk. It's like okay, show me something, tell me something. I just need to hear. And I look in front of me and I see a big truck that said wet paint. I was like, oh, oh, I took a picture of it. So when you paint something, you got to let it dry. You don't just keep, you know what I mean? If you plant a seed, you don't keep digging it up to see if it's growing. You got to fucking leave it. It's like seeds planted. Now, God, higher self, everybody else is like, it looks like I took a shot, but it was an alley oop. Boom. Get it done. God is, God is good, dude. God is good. Um, I also have been given a lot of time away from work to work on this spiritual stuff. I keep thinking maybe I'm depleted, so work is slow, but I wouldn't have been able to pay attention or think about and come up with solutions if I wasn't given the time. So I think the 888 that I've been seeing is a sign that things are going to get better for me financially now that I achieved what I was trying to achieve, or less, at least set something in motion that was meant to happen. Meant to happen. Is that not a crazy thing? I'd love it if everybody saw, you know? If everybody just, if you knew, you can't get to red alert anymore. You can't, you break free. I want to help people break free. So let's break the cage and fly together. Imagine. You know what? I don't think in my entire life I've ever seen two conscious people together. I know people that pretend to be conscious. There was this couple at like a spiritual group, spiritual support group that I was like, let me see what this is about. And the ladies are probably a little bit older than me in her 40s. The guy is like 60s, mid 60s, late 60s even. She's like, I manifested my perfect partner. I just wasn't specific enough because he's 20 years older. And then they're trying to sell that as they have the perfect relationship. It's like, no, bitch, that means you gave up. That means you didn't do it. Just saying nice things to people doesn't mean you're conscious, you fuck. Um, I pay attention. I pay attention. And I'm just fucking, I am conscious, motherfucker, so I know what's happening. I know when someone wants me to think, or wants people to think something about them. I'm sure I brought this up, but there was another guy in the spiritual group. They're very vocal because they need your validation that they're somewhere that they want to be. So very vocal about energy healing. And after everybody, okay, well, my mom died. I'm not feeling good, so if you can send me some energy, everybody's like, do you feel it? I feel that. Thank you. Are are we at the X-Men mansion? What the fuck did everybody just do? Why did you all do that? And then was my like, do it singing bowl. Would anyone else like to speak? Who told you to do that? Would anyone else like to? How about one of our new members? How about go fuck yourself? Don't call on me. I'm not a child. If I want to speak, I'll speak. Yeah. Oh, synchronicity. Carl Jung. Everybody got a boner. Oh, yeah. I noticed the synchronicity. Oh, too. Me too. Um, buzzword. Buzzword. I got a download. Fuck. God damn it. Uh, so this guy who's big in energy healing Reiki, right? He wrote a book about it. It's a it fits in your pocket, which I appreciate. It's like don't waste my time. At least you're gonna bullshit me. So I had him sign it, and I feel bad because I threw it in the trash after I read it. I don't want to spread that information. You know what I mean? And he's talking about how when therapy didn't work, this didn't work, energy healing worked. It's like that's placebo effect. You fuck. You have to do the work. You have to, becoming conscious means this, not this. This. You can't skip the work. You cannot skip the work. You cannot. Jesus saved me, so now I don't have pain anymore. Placebo effect. Your brain is just tricking your dumbass into thinking you made it to avoid the pain. God, people piss me off. And he wants validation so bad. My daughter's a Jungian psychologist. Your daughter's probably a dumbass just like her father. I'm being mean. He was nice, but I don't want to have anything to do with him. I never want to see or hear from him again. Just so fake. It's like stop trying so hard. When people try hard, it really pisses me off. When someone's like that and they're trying to be your friend, it's like, ugh, get away from me. Oh, can I? No, no, thank you. I'm good. So it was my turn to speak, and I said whatever. Everyone put their hands up, like, I don't like that. Don't do that. You need to work on receiving. Okay, I'll work on it. Oh yeah, you're right. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. Who told you to just borrow something from everybody and then no, this is our new religion? This is dumber than the fucking people in church. The difference between church people and these people is just they've been doing it longer. Well, those guys did it, so it's probably right. It's older. Um, fuck. Oh my god. Sweet. Who's that? Oh, I get it. I saw a text. I'm sorry. Okay, I've talked a lot. I'm really excited. I think things are changing, and I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see that things will be very different in a good way. I was seeing 555 a lot 2 days ago, so which means rapid change, and then 999 is the end of a cycle, which means there's about to be a new beginning. So I went through the thing. Let's see what happens next. Can't wait to tell you more details and like come up with more accents. This is an exciting time. I'm happy. My church is going to grow. You should start a church. Yeah, I will. Blackjack and hookers, just like Bender said. Um, God's just lining everything. So uh, that's it. You know, I'll say something positive, which is the people in my life now belong here. The, there's so many more people becoming conscious, and the relationships are deeper, so they're meaningful. There isn't like a, it's like you're excited for everything they have to say. It's like, oh, tell me more. Tell me more about your thoughts. What did you learn? Tell me, tell me, tell me. I'm so excited. I don't want to talk about fuck it. Like, it's so hard to just sit and watch TV or fucking talk about the weather. I don't know what the fuck people talk on dates about. It's like, bitch, tell me who hurt you. Tell me who you are. Tell me who you're becoming. Ooh, mama. That's a real conversation. you know? So life got really abstract for me for a little bit. Now it's becoming very real. Like combining the spiritual and physical worlds, which is the point of all my suffering. I stopped writing in my manifestation journal. I'm just doing it. It's gonna happen anyways. I get everything I want here. Okay. The people that I'm talking about in this are so important. So important. Um, yeah. Excited for the future. Okay. Bye.